What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am infinitely awesome, but you can't see. That's for all the audio listeners. You guys need to get on the video.
You just never know. Every time I hit record, I say the intro, and I just never know what's going to happen next.
Anything could happen after that.
It's
like nuclear launch codes. Once you hit the button, boom. Welcome to the show.
Okay.
You know, like a red button, right? I don't know. I was told that's how you launch a missile.
By just hitting the red button?
Don't do it. We want peace. Peace in the world. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing incredible. I am fantastic. I am here because we are talking about The Peripheral. We're going to cover season 1 of Amazon Prime Video's The Peripheral. But if you didn't know, this is All Things Super, where every week we take a piece of superpower TV, movie, even trailers. We watch them, we react to them, we break them down, we review them, and we answer the question, is it super?
Is it?
Is it?
Is it?
I fully thought you were about to just like put your shirt like all the way over your head.
What type of show you think this is, man?
It just went higher than normal. I don't know. It was going up way too high. I got concerned for a second.
Not this early in the video. There are children watching. I hope not, but welcome to the show if you are.
But if you like that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that come out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on all of your major podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
And we like reading the comments. In case y'all didn't know, I'm trying to tell y'all every time y'all see the show.
Yeah, if you didn't know, we like reading the comments. So leave a comment. But like I said, we're going to be talking about season 1 of Amazon Prime Video's The Peripheral.
This is it.
One thing that I noticed, because if y'all didn't know, I was out of town. I was in Canada. Not to say that Canada doesn't have Prime Video, but it was surprising.
Thank Canada. Thank Canada.
Thank Canada?
I don't know. I'm thinking about that show when they say "Thank Canada." Was it Team America? Was it South Park?
It was South Park, but they were saying blame Canada.
Why would we blame Canada? What is going on, sir?
I don't know. I don't remember all the lyrics of the song, but I do think that the title of the song was "Blame Canada."
I will not. Unless we're blaming them for that great maple syrup. Ryan Reynolds,
is awesome.
Drake.
Ryan Reynolds is also awesome.
Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. 7. One more than 6.
One more than 6. But no, but it was funny because if you look at the Prime Video like listing, you'll see there's like the top, TV shows or whatever for Prime Video. And in US, The Peripheral is number 1.
Degrassi wasn't number 1 in Canada?
Oh, no, I don't think Degrassi is on Prime Video in Canada.
Oh, okay.
But in Canada, The Peripheral wasn't even listed on top TV shows. Like, I had to literally search for it. Like,
search for plug a VPN? Is that what's about to happen? Do we have a sponsor? Are we plugging a VPN? Is that what's going on?
I'm not plugging a VPN. I'm just saying that.
VPN.
Listen, they haven't paid for marketing or sponsorship. So.
Not VPN.
We're not plugging any VPNs. But no, it was just, I was just kind of surprised because it's like all of the advertisements that I see, especially because I have a Fire TV, it's like the banner at the top always showing every week, The Peripheral, new episodes on Fridays. So I thought it was like a big deal worldwide. But just goes to show you, you got to expose yourself to different cultures and different regions. And so you can have a whole, open view of everything. And I get to Canada and it's like The Peripheral never even heard. Like people, I talked to one of Michelle's friends because we had went out to dinner, and so we were talking about like House of the Dragon, and we were talking about like different shows because I was telling her about the podcast and everything, and I was like, yeah, we're currently reviewing a Peripheral, and she was like, oh, what's that? I was like, oh, it's on Prime Video, you know, kind of giving her the explanation. She was like, I watch a lot of shows on Prime Video. I've never even seen that show advertised up here. I was like, really?
See that, Nord? This is where you're missing out. He could have plugged the VPN right there, and you would have been able to see the show, the Peripheral, wherever
But
you
it's
are
not. It's not that it's not
in
available. It's
Canada.
just not advertised. It's like I don't know. So people may be missing out. So if we have any Canadian listeners, we implore you.
Thank you, Canada.
Thank you, Canada. Thank Canada.
See,
But if you haven't watched Peripheral, I say check it out. We're gonna talk about it and we're gonna review it and we're gonna answer the question: is it super or not? But at least in the very least, just give it a watch. But so we catching the final 4 episodes.
yeah.
So
If
we reviewed the
anybody's been
first half of
watching
the
this
season.
show, you guys know that I've been reserving comment till this show. This show, you will get the answer: is this show super or not?
We're going to hear it from Mr. VIP Frankie Washington.
Well, only for those who are interested enough to see what the hell I have to say. You guys might be here for Spider, and it's okay. It's okay.
Listen,
I'm just here.
as long as
too.
they're here, that's what we want. As long as they're here. But just to do a quick recap of the latter half of the season. So we ended episode 4. We kind of learned some information about what was going on with London, the Research Institute, and what the CLEP, where Lev Zubov is sort of maybe a high-ranking member. And so we found out that they were basically fabricating their own stubs. And if you remember, the stubs are the branch timelines. So they're basically creating their own stubs, and they're using those stubs to be able to test out different medicines, test out different technologies. So that way, if something goes wrong and it eradicates the entire population of the planet, oh, no harm, no foul is a throwaway timeline. So we don't care about those people. And, it doesn't matter.
They're not even real. Yeah.
So, and of course, we get the I'm trying to remember if the fight between Flynn and Dr. Newland was in this episode.
Yeah, we did.
But so we finally get the answer that whatever it was that Flynn stole is inside of her brain, whereas it was supposed to go to Burton because Burton was supposed to be the one piloting the Peripheral. But so now it's in Flynn's brain. That's what's causing the seizures, the uncontrollable, grip of the hand.
Ooh, she squeezed some toothpaste.
But so
get your money's worth.
Everybody that they send after the Fishers ends up dead. They haven't been able to get after him yet. And so Dr. Newland...
Burton got the glizzy. He got the...
Burton is a good shot. But so now they're escalating it. They're sending more people after. So we open up episode 5. There's this new guy, Bob. Bob is a retired hitman. The Research Institute sends technology to the past. They hire him. He's like, I don't want to do this. He's retired. He's out of the game. He's like, look, I don't want to be a part of this. But of course, they threaten his daughter.
Of course, so you got to threaten the hitman,
right?
This has gone successfully for everyone who's ever done it. Threaten the hitman, to threaten the guy that professionally kills other people.
Right.
So of course,
but then they put the money on top of it, so it's like added incentive. So no way he's gonna come. Well, and the thing about it is, like, there's no way that he could go after them because they're in the future, so they're kind of safe.
Right. But it did not take him long to realize, oh, you have, again, this is a close-knit community. It's kind of like John Wick. Everybody kind of knows each other. So he was like, oh, who has the assignment to attack my daughter? So he goes to this bowling alley.
It just wastes all of them. And it's like he knows the people. He's like, look, I didn't want to do this. And I hate that it had to be you. But like, want to just go ahead. You could walk away from this. You could, and you'd be all right.
There's always that option.
But then young cat comes up and is like, hey, old man, you need to get out of here. Like, oh, it's just always a young dude too full of himself thinking that he could just poke somebody. And
I took Taekwondo. He did not say that, but that's the vibe I was getting off.
Yeah. But basically, Bob just laid waste to everybody in the damn bowling alley.
Right.
He got one of the post guns. They sent it from the future. They sent him one of the post guns. He used that, blew out a dude's legs from underneath the car.
Now, here's the thing about it.
Mm-hmm.
You just witnessed this man brutally murder all of your friends.
Yes.
And something inside of you said, not today.
Like, I'm going to be the one to take him out.
I'm going to be the one to take him. I'm limping. I'm hurt.
He was in his car, ready to go. He was like, my job is done. I'm about to leave, go do what I got to do.
You had two options. One was to lay there.
He thought you were dead.
Pretend you were dead. And you chose option of assurance. Let me make sure that he knows he did not cross his T's.
Like, I live, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. Well, all that murder shit you were talking about earlier. Like, he even referenced this. He said you could have laid there and stayed dead.
Yeah.
So I guess his thoughts was like, you know what, you're right, I could have, but it's too late.
Too late
now.
at this point. Now your shin's all blown out. You can't even crawl away, and then you just get rolled over by a car.
Not how you wanted to spend your weekend.
No.
I'm just saying.
Like, I just wanted to go bowling, bro. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to go bowling.
Too much. So he does this and ends up saving his daughter and still taking on the assignment because, of course, he knows at some point they'll just get someone else in the circle of assassins to come and kill his daughter.
Right.
So he is hell-bent, focused on killing the Fishers. And he's on his way.
He makes his way to the little town that the Fishers live in. And the last thing he does before he gets ready to enact this hit is he calls his daughter again, and he's speaking in code, and apparently his daughter it seems that his daughter knows that he's a hitman, and so he's talking in code over the phone, and so the daughter reveals that she's pregnant, and you can see it hurts him inside because he's like, I want to leave this life, I want to be with my daughter and her child, know my grandchild, but I have to do this. And so he hangs up the phone. He's on the bridge, and he already gets the information about where the Fishers are going to be because Flynn and Burton have gone to the clinic.
The doctor.
So Flynn can get her CAT scan to try to see what's going on with her brain. And and so he already gets the intel about what path they're going to be taking coming on their way back. So he posts up on the bridge, raises the hood, makes it seem like he has car trouble, so to try to entice them to stop and help him. But he didn't count on Betty Ann riding up there first, like, hey, do you need help? And he was like, no, I got a tow truck already coming. They're already good. And so Betty Ann is like, oh, if it's going to be so-and-so, like, look, I already know he's going to, exactly, really small town, knows everybody. And so Betty Ann is like, oh, if it's so-and-so, he's going to overcharge you. So I can definitely take a look at it. I can save you some money. He's, credit to Bob, he's trying to keep her away, trying not to involve her, trying not to hurt any type of innocent people. So Betty Ann just won't take no for an answer. And he's just like, I appreciate your offer, but just, I would rather wait for the tow truck. And she's like taking offense. She's like, because if you think it's because I'm a woman, then I can show you that it just it, it won't be I can do anything just about as good as a man can. And so he's like, look, I would rather wait for the tow truck to
Shout
come.
out to Betty for coming through. She's like, I'm not about to have you just downgrade my abilities
exactly
at all.
And so,
and here's the thing.
yeah.
And I don't want to get too ahead of you, but here's the thing. I would think with that distraction that we're going to call the thing off. We're going to call this hit off. There's no way I'm just about to do this job. I have a witness here, innocent bystander here, somebody, he's not wearing a mask or any prosthetics or anything. You can have your face ID'd. I mean, you need to get you some cool shades at least to kind of hide your eyeballs or something. But no, broad daylight, not nighttime, not evening, on a bridge, public place. In fact, federal bridge, state bridge.
Yeah.
One of those bridges.
Yeah, the state bridge. That's somebody brought in the state troopers or whatever. But
and so Flynn and Burton's rolling up.
And he sees that as he just sees that as his opportunity. Betty is getting ready to leave, and Flynn and Burton are rolling up, so he sees this as his only opportunity. So he gets his gun, he gets his little pulse thing, he walks out on the street with his gun, getting ready to fire. Burton sees at the last minute, tries to avoid him. They get into a firefight on the bridge.
Flynn sees the gun.
Yeah.
And she's like,
you need to kill him. Yeah, because they stop now. Yeah, because they stop and they're talking to him.
Now here's the thing. I'm gonna ask you, Spider, because we've seen Burton with the glizzy many a times. He always got the glizzy ready out. You can pull that glizzy out of almost like a cartoon character. He'll pull it out of nowhere. Right. And he's ready to go. On this situation, we sense some hesitancy. There was hesitancy to kill old Bob the murderer. What's going on with that?
I think that lends into the level of perception that we see that Flynn has over Burton as it comes to, and it's weird because Burton is already on his heightened sense, because we saw when the mom got her sight back and she was in the kitchen, and Flynn was like, she called Burton, was like, hey, I think somebody else is in the house. Burton and their cousin came in ready to go.
Like, weird angles, like John Wick angles, like with the glizzy. Like, who are you gonna shoot like this? But he was right there with it. But now we have hesitation. It took me out. I was like, what's going on? Like, do you know Bob? Does Burton know Bob?
I don't know. I think for whatever reason he let his guard down. Maybe he was concerned about his sister and he wasn't thinking straight. I don't know.
It was like, you need to bust two in and you got the glizzy right there.
Right.
But he didn't.
But so he didn't. They end up getting into a firefight on the bridge. And Betty Ann comes back. She's like, you know what? I might be good with a truck, but I'm good with a shotgun too. It just comes out clack, clack. Boom.
It is clear that everyone knows the universal sound of a shotgun. If you never heard it, you heard it. You heard it somewhere. It's the most recognized sound on the earth. And you would think that good old B.O.B. would stop, not try to do exactly what he just did, which was still trying to kill, still trying to take a shot.
Still going after her.
Took the shot right to the chest. Now, you know Bob. It's not his first rodeo. Probably not his first time getting shot. He got the vest on. Lays out on the ground. Federal state bridge. Here's what we don't expect to happen, because obviously Flynn and Burton gets away. They got their Jeep shot all up. Tommy rolls up, breaks it down to say, because Burton, and it's clear that Tommy still has maybe not feelings for Flynn, but
he still cares about
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she still cares about him too. You can see
No, she
she
definitely has
was
feelings for
clearly
him.
well. Just gonna give you a little something with that too, because we got some type of love triangle going on between her, Wolf, and between Connor and then Tommy.
I don't think Connor's involved in that.
You don't think Connor's involved in it? You don't feel that energy that's coming off of
No, I don't.
Connor's one arm that's just
No, no,
reaching out for some
no,
companionship.
no.
She is the only one that he is kind of cordial to.
Yeah, but I
Everyone
think that
else,
is just a. I think that's just a like a brother sister friendship. I don't think that's any
you
type of romantic.
you just saying that because that man got one arm.
I am
You
not.
saying
I don't know why you putting it out in the universe.
because he can't do a full hug. You saying that he can't
Wow,
what?
your those words are coming out of your mouth, not mine.
It's only half hearted. Okay, it's half. It's
Now you're
I
saying you
can
don't
hug
have
like
a heart.
this. Well, half of it got blown up.
Sad.
He hasn't been the same
So
since.
sad.
I mean, he even. I'm not gonna get too ahead, but we already know what he would have did with the dog. So before
Very.
we get too much, because you know what, going in 2023, we told y'all we're not doing no more smaller ones, but I'm still gonna do this one,
Cut
and
all of
that's
that.
because of
It's
me.
cut all of that.
What
Got just the
did
microphone.
you hear the meh or the meh?
I heard the mer,
Did
and that
you
was it. The
no
first mer.
meh?
Mm-mm.
Doesn't sound the same now. Anyway, so we're off the bridge, and we find out that because it was a state bridge, if someone would have died on the bridge, it would have opened it up to a whole bunch of state investigations. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you think Burton knew that before? No, still did
No.
it. Do you think Burton knew that? I got an idea. I got an idea. I'll do it later. Well, do you think
Okay.
Burton took that into account that it was a state bridge, which is why he held back from shooting no
Mm,
airplanes in a nice time, like shooting stars?
I don't. If that was the case, that was not like portrayed
Mm.
because it was
Mm.
like there was no like internal discussion that well no discussion between Flynn and Burton was like we
I
can't
can't
you know
shoot him because
like
we're on the
yeah it's
state
like
bridge.
right it was like this is not the place for this there was no kind of conversation like that or anything so I don't think so
Mm.
I don't think that would be
Is that a
something that
is that
he
a
was concerned about.
chip in the armor of this show? Mm-mm-mm. Is it? Let's keep going. So now Tommy's
So
bringing in
yeah, so
Bob.
Tommy takes Bob in. He's got him in the back of the cruiser. Bob's going off his monologue talking about like he doesn't pig or pin Tommy as military. He's just a small time cop trying to do the right thing. But he's telling Tommy like, look, the people that are coming after me are going to come after you too. So you might as well
It's
just
usually
let
how
me
it
go
goes.
and save yourself and be done with it and go about your life and all this other kind of stuff. And in the middle of Bob saying all of this. Tommy gets T-boned. Tommy's
Mm.
cruiser gets straight up
Like a
blasted off the
steak.
road.
Ooh, that's like a steak with mushrooms and grilled onions and the side with a potato.
So Tommy's flipped upside down.
Listen,
Uh,
listen. You
mhm.
don't downplay it.
No,
This
I'm
thing
not
came out of
downplaying it.
nowhere.
We got
It's
four
like,
episodes to get through.
oh, so let's go. So he got T-boned by the new tech invisible car. And remember, I was telling you about this car? There's no damages on these cars. What type
Mm-hmm.
of future tech has the invisibility cloak with the barricade that's in the front that's invisible because there's no damage on the car?
You
You
don't
see
know.
a pair of boots walk up, and
Yeah,
Tommy kind of
Tommy's like
passes
fading
out.
in and out of consciousness, but he sees a pair of boots walk up and he sees that person dragging Bob away. And so we're of course going back and forth to London in the future and and North Carolina in the present. So we get into the future, and this is the episode where Flynn fights Dr. Newland because Flynn is basically like, look, the Research Institute
Stop trying to
got
kill me.
right. He's like, you keep coming after me, so I'm tired of this, so I'm coming after you. So she goes
Let's
into the
go.
lobby and is like, look, I'm here. You keep coming after me, and of course. Credit to Dr. Newland, she don't back down to nobody. and so,
For what?
uh,
Back down for what?
and so I think she was. That was another peripheral because I think Flynn like straight up killed that peripheral, snapped its neck or
Yeah,
something.
she did.
And
Listen, the hit
so,
girl is here to hit. Okay, she is not here to touch you. She is here to murder.
right. So we of course get more information as to what Dr. Newland is trying to do, and so again, Flynn goes to the research institute, like, look, I'm here to see Dr. Newland. Dr. Newland sends down a peripheral of herself, and Flynn immediately is like, I know that's not you in there, and so like the next time I see you, I will kill you. Like, leave me and my family alone. So we get episode 6. So
Wait, shout out to the doc though. Who knew the doc had moves?
oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's the
doc?
peripheral, so
Somebody got to pilot it.
so somebody got to pilot it. But I feel like you can pilot things
VR
mentally.
headset.
Yeah, you can do things like it's playing a video game. You can do things in a video
Like
game.
a sim.
You can
Yeah.
control it, but
Yeah.
have your own body to do that stuff it's a different a different monster.
Yeah. I play 2K. I'm dunking on somebody. In real
Right.
life, I'm sitting on a bench. It's okay. It's okay. It's like, yeah, if we were in the game though.
Yeah. But so episode 6, we get more information about what's going on in London. Flynn and Wilf, they discover what Alita was doing with what they call neoprems. And I still don't really fully understand what neoprems are, but they're basically trying to destroy London. And so we get this new character, Inspector Lowbeer, who, and on the first introduction, I was like, I don't know if we can trust them. I don't know if they're on our side or if they're trying to like we don't really know. But it's basically Zubov is like, shit, I've never had to worry about dealing with Inspector. He tells Wilf, he's like, look, don't lie to her. Do not lie to her. Like, if she asks you a question, presume that she already knows the answer. It's like, just be 100% honest. It's like, you could see that Zubov is like freaked. Like, it's like, I don't want to get on Lowbeer's bad side. And so we get to see that they're finally making peripherals for Burton and Connor. And so Lowbeer is kind of trying to get an explanation as to exactly what's going on, because obviously something is going down here in London. And so we're getting more exposition into everything that's going on, what can be controlled, what can be done. And back in North Carolina, we see that Bob has been dropped off to Corbell Pickett's house. Bob is now Pickett's prisoner.
Some shit.
Right.
Bob's waking up and he got this fancy dancing neck collar on.
He got a shot collar on.
Yeah, making me feeling like the Suicide Squad in here all of a sudden. It's like these collars with the... It's different, but it's the same. Suicide Squad had implants in their neck, but this is more of a shot collar. I'm just saying it's similar, but it's not the same.
Right. So Pickett is basically very hospitable to Bob. He makes him a roast. And,
yeah, it is.
And he says, somebody in the kitchen fucking up my roast. And basically he's saying that Bob is in his town trying to kill people. And after he's cultivated this town, he's got it running on the system. Everybody respects him. Everybody stays in line. But now you got this outsider coming in my kitchen, fucking up my roast because...
Now don't get it twisted. Mm-hmm. Pickett still's got the contract out to kill Flynn and
the Fishers.
The Fishers himself.
Right.
He's just biding his time to see how he
figure
wants
out
to go
exactly
about doing it.
He wants to find out more information. It's like, what's going on with them? Because his whole life, he has known the Fishers. They've never caused any problems. They never stirred up any kind of commotion. But now all of a sudden, I have somebody paying me to kill them? Like, something's going on. I need to figure out what's happening. And then
I like the intelligence of it.
yeah, he's not just some single-minded, single-focused drug lord kingpin type person. He knows business. He knows strategy. He's like, look, if they're talking about they're paying me $200,000 a week, I need to figure
Mm,
out where this money is coming from because
mm.
they're living, out in the
A
sticks,
modest life.
just minding their business. Now all of a sudden they got enough money to pay me $200,000 a week to leave them alone.
A
Nah, something's going on.
week.
Something's going on.
A week. Oh my God. Pickett's
But
winning.
yeah, but
He got
so
the money for the murder that he hasn't made, and he's getting
and
200
he's getting
stacks a week.
and right, and he's still getting his money off his little drug trade. So all the way at the top
This is why he pisses in his pool. So don't
because he can.
don't don't go over there swimming in the pool if you're expecting not to have pee on you. So that's just all I'm saying. Like my pool's pee free. That's just me.
So he gives this whole explanation to Bob, like, look, I'm about to figure out exactly who you are, what you're doing here. But in the meantime, while I'm gone, his wife, like, she got the remote. So, it's all about she's gonna take care of you. And so everything would have been fine if Bob would have just chilled his bean and just be like, all right, look, I'm in this situation. I'm gonna just, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But Bob is like,
But
nah, I
like
gotta
video, like B.O.B. in Future, he was just getting ready, and he waited for his moment. And when he came, I didn't think it was gonna come that way, but it was smart. It
It was
was
smart.
smart.
It was very smart. But
For
so
for
this big
should we
50
tell him or should we?
no,
Yeah,
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 it's this
yeah,
big 50
yeah.
something gallon fish tank and he
Yeah,
ends
nice
up
fish tank.
really
Fresh
nice
water,
fish
not
tank.
salt water, in case you
Right.
guys care.
And so he ends up cracking the tank, fighting the wife. Tank ends up breaking. Water all over the dining room, living room, wherever they were, because I think she was like painting her toenails or something. And so water all over the floor. He knows that she's going to instinctively pick up that remote and try to shock
To
him.
shock him.
But now they're both submerged in water. So what he does, he smartly, when she hits that button, he grabs onto her. So now both of them are shocked. So what the only
And
thing
her body mass is smaller than his mass, so as the
right
chances are, it did incapacitate her when he
was able to
woke
recover.
up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So she was out. And so he ends up killing the wife.
Right.
So, I'm trying to remember
Real
all of the
killer.
things that happened. Yeah,
Real killer.
And
And
so
he's back, and now he's back on the mission.
right, he's back on the mission.
To kill the Fishers.
Right.
He is a real hitman. Like the
It's-
mission comes first.
Yeah, he's gotta finish his job so he can make sure that he and his daughter are safe. So we also go to Tommy. Tommy's at the police station. He's trying to exactly figure out who hit him, what happened, and he's like, "Look, I need to just figure out what's going on." So he's talking to, I guess, the receptionist or the assistant or whatever who's logging in all the information. He's like, "Yeah, I dropped off some weapons. Are they logged into evidence?" And she's like, "Nothing's been logged into evidence." And he's like, "Oh," he's like, "Well," she was like, "Oh, well, what were the weapons?"
Squad car.
She said, "Well, what was the evidence?" He was like, "Well, there was a pistol." And then there was another doodad. She was like, a doodad. She's like, yeah, it was just a thing. So she was like, so you're looking for a pistol and a doodad from your invisible car that hit you. Just basically not believing a word he said. Like, you got a concussion. You don't know what the hell you saw. Go home.
Clearly,
get
you've
rest.
been watching Atlanta, with these invisible cars. It's nonsense.
But of course, she doesn't want to believe him. So he goes to the bathroom because his nose starts bleeding. Obviously, he has some head trauma.
Exactly.
So he goes to the bathroom, try to clean himself up. He sees the sheriff come in. The sheriff's like, I thought I told you to go home. He's like, yeah, but I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to make it make sense. And so the sheriff's like, look, I appreciate you, your hard work and everything, but I got this. I'm gonna find the guy that you lost, and we're
Yeah,
gonna
he made sure he let him know that.
right, and we're gonna put it to rest. And it was like they had that conversation. So he was like, if you excuse me, I gotta go take a shit. So he goes into the toilet to go use the bathroom, and Tommy notices the boots. Tommy notices that the
Mm.
boots that he saw dragging Bob away from the wreckage are the same boots that the sheriff is
Mm.
wearing. So he's like, okay, obviously something is amiss.
Afoot.
So
No,
he
not afoot.
goes to the impound yard and he looks for his cruiser. And if the thing that kills me is that if you're going to try to frame someone for doing something that they didn't do, and you
Right.
know that they had evidence that they were trying to log, why would you
Right.
leave said evidence inside of the vehicle?
Hey, man, I don't know. I can't
I would
explain
think
that
that the
one at
sheriff
all.
would have took that and like
Took
trying to
the
hid it
evidence
away
with him.
somewhere.
Like, what evidence? I don't even know what you're talking about.
But
Like,
no,
really?
they,
It's
they
like,
left it. They not only left the gun, but they also left the post
do
gun
that.
in the
Yeah.
car. It
The
was
thing
like,
on my Bob.
and so Tommy ends up finding a way to turn it on, charge it up. He blasts it. He was like, "Oh shit, that's what this thing does."
Blew the whole window out. Tommy, got you some future tech, buddy.
And so, next episode, episode 7, go Flynn, Burton, Connor. They go to they all go into this peripherals. They're talking to Low Beer, and they're basically trying to get a game plan as to what's going on. And Lowbeer wants to test them out because Lowbeer sees them all as assets and they can help with the Metropolitan Police like fight or balance what's going on with the Research Institute and the CLEP, because obviously some things are shifting and there's some
There's some going on.
So she already knows that Flynn has been piloting her peripheral for a while. She knows that Flynn can fight, but she has to test Connor and Burton to make sure that they can do the same thing. So they go into like this tower type, like the raid almost type building where they're going from level to level to level, and each level is getting more difficult. And they're also fighting with Lowbeer's assistant or protege or progeny or whatever she is to Inspector Lowbeer. And we find out more information about that. We find out more information about that a little bit later.
No, I'm doing good.
But so she's in there, she's fighting with Connor and Burton, and so they make it all the way to the roof, and so the last challenge is only one of them can survive. And
right?
So
how's that for a twist?
And so they all fight. The assistant, she ends up kicking Connor off the roof. She kicks Burton off the roof. Connor is like,
I think she kills Burton.
Yeah, she killed Burton and then kicked Connor off the roof.
Connor off the roof when Connor fell in love.
Yeah, Connor, he absolutely fell in love. He's like, I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna marry that woman. And Connor is just he's thrilled to have full use of his body back again. We already saw before.
Hug. He can hug fully. Yes.
But we already saw when back in episode 4 when Connor they put Connor into Flynn's peripheral to try to get some answers as to what was going on with Flynn. We saw that Connor was already like, look, I want to get a body. I want to live there permanently. That's where I want to reset my life. And Connor, and I can't remember what episode this was in, but Connor talked to one of the guys who worked at the 3D printing shop.
3D printing shop.
And he's like, you're by far the smartest person in this town. He's like, you being modest about it, but no, you are the smartest person in this town. So he said, if a person was to be hooked up to like a life support system, IVs, all of this other kind of stuff, catheter for the bathroom, could that person then live their life out in like virtual reality? And, he's basically just said, I don't think the body was made to live like that. Who knows what that could do to you? Who knows what that could do to you? But Connor is really contemplating wanting to live the rest of his life in the future in London in that peripheral because he could fully live his life and not have to worry about his disability. But so Flynn's talking to Lil Beer and trying to figure out. Lil Beer is basically just doing some rapid fire, like ask questions. Like, I'm gonna ask you a question, give me the answer, like as soon as you can think of it. And so they're trying to figure out exactly. Lil Beer is trying to figure out where Flynn's mind is. Like, what is it that you know about all of this? What is it that you hope to gain out of all of this? And Flynn tries to ask Lil Beer some questions as well. And when they get to the question of can you create a stub? Lil Bear is like, oh, well, your friends are done. It seems like our time is up. And she didn't answer the question. So back in North Carolina, Tommy is trying to figure out what's going on with this evidence and stuff. And while he's driving, he gets a call from the sheriff. Sheriff says that I need you to come. We got a situation. I need you to come to the picket place. And so Tommy rolls up there, goes to the picket place, sees the carnage. The wife's dead. I think he stabbed her, if I remember correctly, because she was way bloodier than her just being shocked and laid out in the living room.
I think he stabbed her for every time that he got shot. I think, and for every time he chewed that roast. I think that roast was dry.
Yeah.
So he needed that fish tank to kind of quench his thirst. I don't know if it was Pickett that cooked it or the wife, but clearly the reviews were in, and it was
not
five
good.
Knives deep.
Not good.
For that roast, I give you 5 knives to your abdominal area.
But
and he's out. He's on the hunt again.
He's on the hunt again. So he leaves. And so Tommy's talking to the sheriff and Pickett's there and they're telling him, like this is how it's gonna be. So
this is basically Tommy's fault.
Yeah, because this is the guy that was in your custody. He got out. Now he came here and for whatever reason he's on a murdering spree now. He murdered, Mrs. Pickett and everything. So you're responsible. And so Tommy is like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And so the sheriff has a one-on-one conversation with him. He's like, look,
the truth is basically whatever the fuck I say it is.
Right.
He's like,
you could take me down to the station if you want to. I could be processed. They could take away my badge. We go to trial. The city loves me. I'm a pillar of the community. And you've had a head injury, so everything that I say is my word against yours. And whose word do you think they're going to take? So you could be a good little boy, go investigate the fishers,
like I told you to.
Right. And he is digging at Tommy in every...
A grown man. Just like, just gonna talk crazy little man. All right.
Down to him. And so he's digging at Tommy in every sense of the word. And so he's like, go investigate, go get the fishers, bring them in.
Boy.
And he's like, just do what I say and we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right.
Hey.
But Tommy is pissed.
A grown ass
because
man.
Tommy is like, I've dedicated my life to this police force, trying to be, a model officer, trying to do the right thing. And I've been working. And I love what the sheriff said. I don't remember what he said word for word, but he was like, through all your virtue, through all your, wanting to be the good guy and do the right thing, you still work for me. So if you think I'm corrupt, that means that you still corrupt too, because you've been doing everything that I've been asking you to do. So don't think that you're on your high horse of morality and that you think that you're above this.
Who run this town?
Exactly.
He made it no secret. You know who run this town, and right now he telling you go get them goddamn fishes because he won't ask them questions.
Right.
Now go do what I tell you to do. Now I want to be honest with you. The sheriff had a good, long, decent conversation with Tommy. To set things right. He even walked away and then came back and talked to him again. because Tommy had some understanding that wasn't clicking. You go over there and get the Fishers and bring them back over here. Mr. Pickett want to ask him some questions. So Tommy, in his feelings, leaves.
Tommy gets back into his truck.
And his feelings comes back.
Tommy, look, I got this pistol. I got this doodad. And it's about to go down.
I was thinking, Bob went on a murdering spree and shot the sheriff.
Right.
And before the sheriff could let that dawn in and get the rattling in, because after that good, strong, father knows best conversation that he had with Tommy, he like, this boy not getting it. Right. You go over there and Tommy with the glizzy. Oh my God, he done shot the sheriff. Tommy shot the sheriff. Now that's something I didn't see Tommy doing.
No.
Because Tommy was a Boy Scout. Even Pickett said, I did not see that one coming.
Right.
But Tommy goes further. Tommy says, I think Bob went further and got his gun off and killed you too, Pickett.
But the thing that
dead man can't tell no tales.
Right. The thing that Tommy, in his rage, didn't take into account was that he emptied the clip into the sheriff. And so now Pickett was like, well, that's a nice story that you're telling there, but obviously you can't follow through on that because you ain't got no bullets.
Ain't that some shit?
So Tommy looks at the gun. Yeah, it's empty, but I got to do that. And pull out the doodad, blows Pickett through the window.
Plain glass. It's good.
And so the thing that took me out of this scene, just like how you were saying with Burton's hesitation kind of taking you out as to when he was already, very like on the trigger in every other instance. But do we just attribute it to Tommy's rage into him not thinking clearly about fingerprints? Because if you're going and talking about, oh, Bob went on a killing spree because he used Bob's gun. You saying Bob going on a killing spree, he killed the sheriff and then he killed Pickett. Your fingerprints are all over the gun.
That he put right back into the bag.
Right. Didn't wipe it off. I mean, it's because I know normally you see like people try to wipe off the gun, like they pull up their sleeve and they try to do all of this, wipe off the fingerprints. But we know that doesn't work.
Clearly, Tommy is new at this. He's not.
He's not a killer.
He's not. He's not Bob. Bob, you expect Bob to do something. Bob will set the gun on fire. And surprisingly enough, the gun would melt. Bob would do some shit like that. Tommy's new to this shit. He doesn't. He's like, I think I did it right. Let me go ahead and
spit on it.
Yeah. We got DNA on the gun. How could you get my DNA? I don't know what happened.
But so as he's leaving, dead. He calls. He calls it in.
Call it in.
Yeah, you gotta call it in.
You can't just leave it. No. Which would have been the smart thing, actually, to leave it.
Right.
The smartest thing to do would have been done nothing and left. Because
nobody knew that he was there, except the sheriff and Pickett.
Game over. End of the show.
And so that was it.
What happened. You told on yourself, and now here we are.
Right.
Because going into and I know we're leaving out a lot of stuff, but we're on this timeline, so let's just follow it through. Because going into the final episodes, Pickett's not dead.
Right.
Pickett's very much alive.
And also,
he's hurt. He's hospitalized, but he's alive.
Yeah.
So now, if he talks, Tommy's
Tommy is absolutely fucked. But so
not only does he know that you killed the sheriff, but you tried to kill him just because you was one of the Fishers and get him so he can ask some questions. Should have just did what you was told, Tommy. Now it's a situation because if he talks, you're done. But let's go back to where Bob's at.
Right.
Bob's a real killer. Bob's like putting these connections together, and he's like, I gotta get the Fishers over to where I'm at because I don't know exactly where they are. So he goes to Bob's fiance, I forget her name, or is it his wife? You know, they're engaged. They're not married yet.
Tommy's fiance.
Yeah.
But
what's
one thing
name?
that
Didi.
And one thing that we didn't mention, Tommy had already talked to Didi earlier, just about like his wounds, his head trauma. And Tommy tried to explain exactly what happened. Didi's like, look, you're overworked, you're stressed, you don't know what's going on, go home, get some rest. Tommy didn't want to hear any of that. And that's when he left talking to Didi. That's when he got the call to go over to the pickets. But also what we didn't mention is that the medicine that Flynn's mom had been taking that sort of was supposed to like cure her of her tumor and like restore her sight, that's starting to fail. Mom's blind again.
It's gone.
It's
That's
failed.
it.
So mom's blind again. It is. It was real sad.
It's like she was like, I think I'm blind again. I'm blind again.
Yeah. So she asked Burton's friend Reese. She's like, I need you to take me to the clinic. And he was like, is everything okay? Do I need to call Burton? She's like, no, don't call Burton. I need to go to the clinic. I need to go get things checked out. He was like, all right, well, I'll go get the car. And he was like, oh, well, Reese, you need to help me because I can't see again. And I was like, oh, fuck. It's like, God damn. But so the mom, Ella, goes to the clinic. She's talking to Didi. She's seeing Didi. And I don't remember how Bob found out that the mom was at the clinic.
I think he was sitting at the house waiting for the Fishers to come back. But I'm not sure how he got the address to the house. Because I remember he followed them when they went to the clinic. But I don't know how he would have got the address to the house.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been some future information that he got.
It's called lazy writing.
So he follows them to the clinic. He goes in. Surprisingly, nobody else in the clinic. It's literally Didi and Ella, and that's it. I'm like, this is just a normal day during the week. Right. There's not like, well, in Reese was there too.
In London. You would think it was a clinic in London the way it was so empty. Like, where everybody at?
Nobody. It was just them.
This is the stuff that didn't have COVID.
So everybody's fine. I don't know. But so Bob goes in. Of course, he goes in. He starts talking and just like trying to explain what he's doing, going off his monologue. Kills Reese.
No. You got to remember what Bob did. Bob is a real killer. Bob takes, for no particular reason whatsoever, takes out a knife and cuts his wrist.
Oh, so he could
soaks his bandage and goes into the clinic.
So he could have a reason to make it seem like, because I guess because in a real world scenario, of course there would be a lot of people in a clinic. So instead of him just walking in like a mass shooter, he's like, okay, well, let me make it look like there's a reason that I need to be here to avoid any suspicion. It does make sense. But what doesn't make sense is to why there was nobody else in the clinic.
Here's the thing. Could you not have just soaked this rag in like some blood or ketchup or something? You know you're going there to kill somebody. Why taking that? Why make yourself at a disadvantage?
He cut from here all the way to here. He made a long ass cut on his arm. I'm
gonna kill somebody, but I can't because I'm about to pass out from blood loss. Like, stay still, all three of y'all. It's one of us. I see y'all moving. Like, dude, you could have just. You ever had the tacos that you dip in the You could have just
He was
dipped that rag in there.
he was working with what he had. He didn't have time to stop and get tacos. He was already like all
God,
bloodied up and stuff like
went to
that.
the
So
butcher, got some pig's blood. You didn't even have to show your arm. You could have just held it like this and like, I need help. I need help. And they'll be like, let me see. And you pull out the glizzy in weird angles like Burton does it. It's weird. Stick your hands up. Like, right?
but so he goes into the clinic, kills Reese, stabs him a shit ton of times. But Reese put up a fight. I'll say that. Reese tried his best. But so Dee Dee and Ella are sitting there.
Military train, huh?
Yeah, military train. But so Dee Dee and Ella are sitting there, and
which is horrible. You cannot
just sit
hear.
there.
I mean, you cannot see, but you can hear this struggle going on.
Right, and we get the scene where Ella is asking Dee Dee, she's like, "Where's Reese? I don't hear Reese. Where's Reese?" It's like, fuck. It's like, and Dee Dee just had to like tell her like, "Oh, he went outside real quick."
Yeah, well, you know that's a lie.
Yeah, well, we know it's a lie.
You might as well say, let's play the quiet game right now.
Right.
It's just a lot going on right now, and I need you to just kind of calm down.
You to, you're out of here. I need you to get out of here.
Especially since this guy just murdered someone and he has a gun.
Yeah. So they end up going to the waiting room. Bob's holding him hostage. And so Burton and Flynn, they come back. They're at the house. They look for Reese. They're like, we haven't heard from Reese. They go into their haptics, like, I can't detect a heartbeat for him. So it's like, well, shit. He took your mom to the clinic. So they go race to the clinic. They're sitting outside. They got like, they can see like heat signatures inside the clinic, but they can't figure out which one is Bob. So it's like, can't you link into your haptics? Because if you can send an electrical pulse into Reese's body, it can make him look like he's still alive, which is horrifying because, Dee Dee's sitting there like Reese is dead. Reese has been stabbed a bunch of times. Reese is dead.
Dead.
You see Reese's body just go like that. Like, oh shit. Fucking zombie apocalypse.
Now, here's the thing. I don't remember the gentleman's name that did this, but he clearly does this because earlier in not this episode, but earlier in the episode, we seen Connor was having issues with sleeping because of all the
I think that was
horrible
their cousin
atrocities
Leon, I think.
Yeah, the horrible atrocities that happened to him while he was serving, which again was not his fault. The Institute penetrated his mind to have him have compassion and sympathy for the dog, which he could not control what he was doing. And so he went down there.
We saw that like maybe 3 episodes ago, where the woman who Dr. Newland ended up killing with the bees, we saw her take Alita down to the little basement area where Alita ended up stealing technology because apparently she and Alita had dated, and so they were kind of like reconciling or whatever. So we see her basically explaining to Alita how they were experimenting in the stubs and how they had the haptics implanted into these soldiers and how they were able to manipulate them, how they were able to, like you said, just like boost compassion, boost the rage, do all this other kind of stuff. And so we see the soldiers kind of moving information, but we don't really get to see everything else that happened. And so
now I thought this was interesting because for her to be able to explain it and do that and even show the footage of Connor getting exploded, because in the later episode or that episode, because of emerging, that wasn't a stub. That was their life.
Right.
So that kind of threw me. I was like, wait a minute, that's not a stub. That happened in this timeline. So are the stubs real? Are the stubs not real? Or are they on the same timeline?
No, I think the stubs are absolutely real, because the timeline that we're in London, we saw the newspaper clipping of Flynn's mom passing. We saw the
Right,
exact, they talked about exactly what happened and when the jackpot started, and like how
right.
the biggest cataclysmic event of the jackpot was the missile silo that blew up in their town. What was it, Sugar Creek or whatever, in North Carolina, the town that they live in. And so they're on the same timeline, but I think that once they started doing that, I think that's when they started implementing the stubs. Like, hey, we've messed with this timeline, and I think that they realized that that ended up resulting in the jackpot happening. So they say, okay, well, let's branch off, experiment in different things, so that we don't mess up our own future or mess up
Interesting.
our present or some kind of way.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think they're still on the same timeline, but I think that was like one of their earlier experiments.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
so yeah, so we saw that, and just like you said, because of their haptics, we get a flashback to exactly what happened with Connor and why he got blown up, and why the Burton and the rest of their friends feel bad about it because they're all out, excuse me, fighting this war or whatever, and we find out that the opposition, whoever they were, I don't think they really said who they were fighting against, but they were using dogs. They were setting up dogs as traps, sort of like IEDs. And so what they did, they had a dog wrapped in barbed wire, and so they're all sitting there, kind of looking at the dog and kind of debating. It was like, we know that the dogs are being used as traps, so somebody can shoot the dog, but nobody wants to shoot the dog. And so Connor is like, look, I'm going to go save the dog. And they're like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. And Connor runs off anyway, but nobody really gets up to stop him. And so they cover him to make sure he doesn't get sniped, because that's what they're thinking. The dog is a diversion. You go try to free the dog, then you get sniped. And so they're covering him while he goes to save the dog. He's clipping the dog out of the barbed wire. He thinks the dog is going to be okay. He sees the dog has a collar
Let's
on. He rolls the
see.
dog
Oh,
over. The dog has stitches. And they
they
fill the dog
pull
with the
a Joker
explosive.
on them. They did a goddamn Joker. They got the bomb sold all up in the the tittles and bits. Kibbles and bits is all sold up in there, and it was horrible. Or kind of blew up, and he just got one arm to hug with now. You can still choke somebody out with one arm. Just
Jesus
want you to
Christ.
know that. Connor, a bad mother. I'm telling you.
He
So
is. He is.
this guy takes, I forget his name. You said that
Leon.
it's a convert. Leon
Yeah.
helps Connor sleep.
Mm-hmm.
He by hyperjacking into his synaptics and whatever.
He's
Uh,
sort of taking his anguish away and like taking on that himself.
right, and it gives Connor the ability to go to sleep. I say that because it's the same gentleman that reanimates this Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness corpse. And it is the creepiest thing you've seen. You see this body starts to breathe, and they very brilliantly, strategically put it together. Said if he sees this body moving, he's gonna
He's
go
going to
in
move
for the
toward it.
kill
Right.
because he's gonna feel like he didn't kill him, he didn't finish him off. And just as he does, because we see the three heat signatures, they take it for that's him, which is the riskiest thing in the world because they could have been 3,000% wrong.
Right. It could have been
They
Dee
could have
Dee try to
shot the
go check
wrong
on him.
person.
Right.
Exactly. Well, she's a medical professional. Of course, she's gonna
Exactly.
first thing she's gonna. Oh my God, there's life. Let me see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
But they just so happen to get Bob on the right day, and they put one through him with the glizzy through the wall.
Through the wall.
Through the wall. These guys are not to be taken lightly. Like they're real military. You won't even see it, and he
No.
didn't. He thought he was just going over there, and he actually put like two or three of them in a dead animated body and took one out. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. I felt bad for Bob. Bob
Do you?
was no. Bob's a murderer. Bob's murdering people. I understand your motivations of murdering. You're trying to not to have your family murdered, but
Hmm.
at the same time, will we see Bob again though?
No, Bob got blasted. Bob got double tapped to the head. Burton made sure that Bob wasn't coming back.
Yeah, he's efficient. He's not Tommy. He makes sure
No,
the deal
Burton.
is done.
Burton's like, when I kill something, it stays dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, Burton runs into the clinic. Bob is down. Burton took no chances and just plat plat plat, just like, you're done. You're done. It's over. There's no getting up. He's like, I thought you were done when they took you to jail. Obviously not. So I'm gonna finish this myself.
This ain't no state bridge, buddy. There you go.
But
Now we got a situation.
yeah.
Now we got a situation
But
because
we didn't
again,
we get into the final episode where we open up, and I can understand what you were saying about the possible romantic interest between Flynn and Connor, because we open up the final episode where Flynn was visiting Connor while he was in the hospital after he had got blown up.
mhm.
And he was just basically saying that they were talking about a reset. Basically, you're playing a video game, you get to a point to where you're constantly getting killed, but you can't figure out exactly how to get past this next part. So you just do a reset. And he said he wishes that he could go back and reset to where he was back in the war
Whole again.
and whole again. Yes. And he said he would put the dog down rather than go and try to save it. But so that gives that
Which again
flashback.
is a mercy. This kid, this puppy has kibbled and bit sewed all
But
up
he
in
didn't
it.
know that. He didn't know
Of
that.
course he didn't know. He didn't know. Hindsight is always 2020. You can always
Right.
see. Well, I hope you can see clear. I hope you learned a lesson. I mean,
Yeah. But so this flashback gives us basically the motivation as to what's going to happen in this episode. So wrap things up in North Carolina. State troopers or FBI, one of the two, ends up at the picket
the
house.
state bridge.
They end up at the picket house because Tommy called it in, and of course he's walking through the crime scene, and they're like, okay, just want to make sure everything is fine. So Tommy's outside. He realizes he got blood on his boots. Like, well, shit, we gotta scrub this off.
True.
And then he's just, I don't know how much time has passed, but basically he's just trying to take a napkin and just trying to, and just like we were talking about with him not realizing his fingerprints on the gun.
This is not your life.
Like,
Right?
he was trying to take a napkin and try to rub the blood off the boots. And so officers come out, they call Tommy, it was like, hey, we need you to come and see this. He's thinking, oh shit, I'm caught. And he said that EMTs have got a pulse.
We got a pulse.
They'll come back, find out Pickett's still alive.
Pickett is alive.
Pickett is still alive. So Pickett's alive. Pickett goes to the hospital. And we'll skip around a bit. So we go to the bar. We haven't been back to the bar in a minute.
Here we go.
And so Jasper, Pickett's nephew, is sitting there with all of like Pickett's other three little cronies or whatever. Yeah, the hooligans. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. But so they're all sitting there, they're discussing, they're talking like Pickett's already dead. So like, well, since Pickett is indisposed, then we need to talk about
that makes me in charge.
Right. Like, I was always his number two, so obviously I'm gonna be in charge. It's like, well, we could divide the responsibilities between the three of us. And Jasper was like, oh fuck, I work too. It's like, you really think that Pickett was going to leave you in charge, Jasper? Like, really, my guy? And so he's like,
so
but it's so disrespectful. We're like, but no, you can still, drive for us. You can be our driver. You're the help now. He's like, well, you can clean our cars. You've always been so good cleaning them cars. It's like, damn. So Jasper gets in his feelings, so like, go fill up my pitcher. And you think that Jasper is probably going to have like a picket moment, take that pitcher and just whack him upside the head. But
I was waiting for it.
I don't think Jasper had it in him.
Nope.
So
and then I looked at that picture; it was plastic anyway. It wouldn't
right, so it wouldn't really did anything. So he can't.
But the fact that he says put it on your uncle's tab,
right,
is letting you know that.
But not only did he say put it on your uncle's tab, he said put it on your uncle's tab if they'll still honor it. So it's like, not only am I charging this to your uncle, but I'm rubbing it in that he's about to die and that nobody cares. So Jasper goes up to the bar. He's taking it all in stride. He's holding it in, and he's driving him home. They're all drunk.
I'm talking about like blackout. Car.
Yeah, he was like roll out the window, and he's like, what? He's like roll over, and just throws up in the back of the car. And then the dude in front still rubbing it in. He was like, I guess you have to clean that up.
You gotta clean that up, Jasper. Oh my God.
So
good thing for you.
Jasper is still sitting with this, and so he's driving. They're all passed out, blackout, just dead to the world. So he's like, well, who do I drop off first? Nobody answered. He looks, everybody's passed out. So he was like, might be a golden opportunity to rid myself of these motherfuckers. So,
and just like Uncle Pickett taught you, in one swell swoop,
take them all out.
Jasper takes them all out.
But
parks in front on the truck. Just
like Tommy is not ready for that life. Jasper's not ready for this life. So Jasper gets up. Jasper parks the car on the train tracks. He gets out of the car, hides off in the bushes, and just waits for the train. He calls up Betty Ann, middle of the night, it's like 2:00 in the morning. And he says, remember when we were playing Monopoly and I, racked up a whole bunch of money, but I felt bad, so I was giving money away to everybody if they needed it. And then then Burton came back and won came from behind and won. He's like, and you told me that basically you need to stop mistaking weakness for kindness. And so he was like, what did you, why did you say that? And Betty Ann was like, I didn't mean that. He was like, yeah, you did, because if you didn't, you wouldn't have said it. And she said, I didn't mean that you're weak because you're kind, but that's one of the things that I love the most about you. That's why I married you. But she said, I just wanted to see you win for once because you deserve a win. And so this whole time, Jasper's thinking like, I need to stop being weak. I need to do something. And now he's spiraling because he's like, well, shit, I'm not being weak. I'm just a nice person. And so he has second thoughts and like, oh shit, well now I can't let them die. Train's coming. Betty Ann, I gotta call you back. So hang up the phone, goes to run, try to get back in the car. He locked the door,
and left
he's
the keys
inside the car.
Now, listen, I don't know which model Cadillac this is, but that's normally when you have the key inside, the doors don't lock.
Right.
But we have seen a Cadillac before in the earlier episodes this season. Pickett had modified them to basically become an incinerator.
Right.
So I don't know if it was the same car or actually it probably was the same car because as you've seen, Jasper tried to break the window. The window didn't break. So I'm thinking it was the same trucks. And even when the train hit it, it kind of stayed intact. It just so happened to blow up and then blow up again.
Yeah.
Huey, Louie, and Dewey, which are not their names, died.
No, I don't know. I don't even think we ever learned their names.
They're dead. They don't even matter right now.
Unless
they come back in on Michael B. Jordan flashback, it's not going to happen.
We had Sweaty, we had Stitch Face, and then we had number 2.
Let's say Stitch Mouth.
You can't deny that the dude, like one of the guys just looked sweaty all the damn time. He's like he had the
one
slick
with the
hair.
stitches in his mouth?
No, it was a smaller one. The smaller one that didn't really say much. It's like he always looked sweaty. He always looked like he was just moist. Yeah.
Ew.
But yeah, so
let's call the other guy Smash Mouth.
Call him Smash Mouth because he Take a
He
drink.
took a shotgun glass to the face. So
But
now
yeah,
they're
so
dead.
train
The
hits
train
the
hit him.
train hits the
No
SUV.
piercer.
They're blown up. So Jasper is gonna have to deal with that. So
Is he?
I don't know.
Because you can easily say that they stole his car and took it for a joyride, and who's not gonna believe that?
True.
I
Very
mean, they
true.
got hit by a train. That's nothing to do with you. Just report your. Listen, I'm not telling anybody to get over it. I'm just saying, for the sake of this show, I'm just
Mhm.
saying a character can easily. I mean, it's not hard to believe that they took his car and joyride and got hit by a train.
Yeah. But
I don't know. Just run that by Tom.
I don't know. Tommy got his own problems to deal with.
He has a lot.
But so back in London, we get reuniting between Wilf and Alita, and
Does it
basically,
feel so good?
so Wilf is kind of like fussing at Alita's like, I don't know where you've been, like what's going on, and like Alita starts kind of reminiscing about everything. It's like, how much do you remember about when we were kids? And Wolf is like, oh, well, I remember this, this, and this, but you told me about all of this stuff, but I don't remember that. That was like, I was too young to remember. It's like, Wolf, you were 7. It's like,
Mm,
you may have been young, but you were old enough to remember what was going on. And so
mm.
she said, do you know what happened when I took out my chip? And he was like, well, yeah, you lost
Healing factor.
your immunity boost, so you're gonna end up dying. And she was like, well,
Same
yeah,
thing.
but on top of that, I started remembering things because the chips actually suppress memories. And so she starts explaining everything that was going on, and she has gotten this sort of like group of people, and they're planning to take down the research institute, and they're trying
Now,
to
here's a question I
dismantle the
want to
whole
ask,
thing.
Spider.
Yes.
Spider, I want to ask you: if you had the ability to live forever, but it cost you your memories, would you want that trade-off?
No.
So you want to remember stuff until you die?
I
Got it.
would, because I feel like if you are going to live for the thing about immortality is that it's a very lonely existence,
Yeah, it
because
is.
you are
Everyone around you gonna die.
everyone around you is dying, and you constantly have to forge new relationships only to inevitably see those end as well, and you just end up basically shutting yourself off to the world, because how many times can you go
And deal
through
with that loss.
deal with the loss of losing people that you care about before it like just drives you mad, and then knowing that you can't end it, like there's no way for you to kill yourself if you're immortal, and you just have to deal with like just the sadness, the grief, and you nobody else can relate to that but you, and
They
it's a
just
hard
did
life to
that
live.
same parody. It just did. I don't want to spoil anything for you for R and M, but they did something similar to that on an episode. You'll see it.
Okay.
It's exactly what you just said, and it's surprising because we just talked about it. And you said you didn't watch it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's exactly that. So when you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. For
Gotcha.
those who are watching the show, this wasn't for you. That wasn't for you. It was for Spider. It's
We already gave
okay.
him the spoiler warning, so whatever.
We're not doing that shit anymore.
No, we
We're
said in
spoiling it.
2023. We said 2023.
2023, we're spoiling everything. Come see. So for this show, we got a lot going on, and clearly we haven't even talked about half of it. But we're gonna go ahead and tell you guys this.
We got to get to at least the ending part. So the last part is Flynn goes to Lobeer, and we find out that Ash and Ossian, I don't know if that's her brother or her cousin, whatever relationship they have.
Lovers.
Are
Aren't
they
they
lovers?
lovers?
I don't
Are
know.
they lovers?
I have no idea.
Very, very non clear what they are. I
Yeah,
thought
we don't know
it
what kind of
annoys
relationship they
me when
have.
they talk in their native language or whatever language
I
that
found out
is.
it's not even a native language, it's a coded language. It was a language like they made up to where only the two of them
Yeah,
can speak it.
when they do it, it makes me just want to pluck them in the throat, like right in here, just right
All
in
right.
here. So I just stop doing that. Stop doing that. Stop talking like that. Talking your normal voice. Just
But so they were sort of, they're the one that found out that the technology was implanted inside of Flynn's brain. Zubov finds out about this. He sees that they're about to double cross him, so he threatens them. He's like, "Hey, I will kill you," and don't even think that I'll hesitate about it. Like you,
Face! Cut his face!
cuts
Like,
Alcine's face. He's like, "Wait." Just didn't even think about it. Just like, son of a bitch.
Like, I know you didn't just cut me. Yeah, you cut. Just cut his face.
But so
And says, I will kill all y'all. Keep
right,
playing.
he was like it's the same way when Dr. Newland came and talked to Lev and asked why he kept Wolf around. He was like, I'm fond of my pets. And that's basically how he treats Ash and Ossian. He's like, I like working with you, but don't think that, once your usefulness runs out that I won't kill you. And so that leads Ash to go to Dr. Newland and it's like, look, I gotta be real with you. Like, I understand what's going on. I know what was stolen from you. I know exactly where it is. But and I need you to take care of it. And so Dr. Newland is like, okay, well, for me to do what I'm going to do is going to be very drastic. But it'll take care of the problem. And it's like, because Dr. Newland asked Ash, well, what do you want in return? She said, I want you to kill Zubov. Like, oof. That's a big thing because of his klep status. That's
like going at somebody at the table in John Wick. Like you
right.
didn't just go.
Like you don't just go at somebody at the table.
You don't kill made people. They already been made. So you touch them, you just asking for a world of problems coming your way.
And so Dr. Newland reveals that her way to fix things, because Ash asks, well, what are you going to do? And so she said she's going to start the jackpot early. And what she's going to do is she's going to blow up that missile silo in North Carolina where Flynn lives. And so Ash is like, well, shit, I didn't want that. I just wanted Zubov dead. I didn't want to do all of this. But, I mean, to make an omelet, you got to crack some eggs.
Be careful when you're talking to the devil. It's in the details.
Right. So they get into Flynn comes back. She's with Wolf. Alita comes up. They see young Alita before Wolf talks to her. And so
which is clearly a peripheral.
Right, which is clearly a peripheral. And so she makes Flynn leave her peripheral because she says she doesn't want her eyes and ears because she already knows that Ash is watching. And so Flynn leaves. And so Wolf and Alita have their talk. When Flynn comes back, she talks to Ash and she's like, well, what did you do? And Ash tells her, well, they're going to blow up the missile silo. So Flynn goes and talks to Lobeer, because Lobeer had already had a conversation with Dr. Newland and they come to blows talking about their balance and everything, about what's been stolen.
House.
Right. Yeah. Built with toast.
Yeah.
And so
it's the craziest thing. You need 4 walls. Like, this is why your instability is
right. This is why everything, instead of having that roof, you should have had a 4th wall. But so Dr. Newland is talking to Lobeer and they're going into this discussion. Dr. Newland is telling Lobeer exactly what was stolen from her, and so she references talking about peripherals using people that they knew that they love, and so it's revealed that that Lobeer's assistant or protege, progeny, or whatever she is actually a peripheral of her daughter.
Bah, bah, bah.
And so she makes her deactivate before that information is revealed because she said that, it would be, she doesn't know how she would handle it.
Exactly.
So, but we get that reveal.
Which is interesting because we got the foreshadowing of that when the doctor had her henchman replaced with not a peripheral, but a android type of replacement. Right.
Yeah.
So the sentiment was there already, and now we understand when you lose someone, or you just have somebody that's not returning your phone calls, you just replace them with an android. You don't call me back. That's all good. I got model 2025 coming off the showroom line. you know, we
You can be
good.
replaced.
You could, can't we all?
I mean, pretty much. But so
Hey,
Flynn goes talk to Lowbeard. They devise a plan because Flynn asked Lowbeard, said that, the question I asked you before, but you never answered was, can you create a stub? And Lowbeard says, no, I cannot, unfortunately. But I know how it's done. So
mm,
they devise a plan. We
that
see
part.
Flynn talking to Connor, and she said that, oh, because Lobir said you're going to need some help, and uh Flynn said, well, Connor's going to help me. He said, well, wouldn't Burton want to know? She's like, no, Burton can't know any of this, because of course if Burton knew what Flynn was about to do, he would be 100% against it, like absolutely not, no, we'll find another way. But so Flynn goes to this location, and it's
This is the part you guys want to pay attention to because I know you didn't understand the ending. So if you're watching, you're watching us. We're about to break it all the way down for you. Go ahead, Spider.
so Flynn's plan is to create a stub, and in that stub, and this is the part that I didn't understand, but Flynn is going to somehow transfer her consciousness to that stub, where
Okay.
everything that happens in that stub, she'll still retain her consciousness and be able to come back to London in the future. So she basically created a stub, I guess, off of that same point in time where they are right now, or maybe I would guess at the same point in time where they are right now. But because the original timeline is going to be destroyed and that stub timeline is going to be preserved, she can still go into, she'll still have the headset, she'll still be able to go into the future. So she goes to the location, it's some like church or something, and Lobier tells her there's going to be guards, and they'll have the same powers as you. So basically, prepare for a fight. So, like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah.
Hit Girl is gonna hit.
Hit girl's gonna hit. A hit girl is gonna hit, and she hit hard,
and the,
quick.
and she's so smug about it. Like, I don't know how she got to be so good, because these are supposed to be guards, right? These are Research Institute guards. They're supposed to be protecting
Were they?
this. That's why I say I don't know. They're
They're
supposed to be.
standing there in the dark like iRobot. Like, why are y'all in here with the door closed, just standing around?
They're on call.
She mopped the floor with it.
They
You
were
see
on
when she
call.
took the axe and put it in the wall and ran the guy?
Yes.
Oh my god.
But that's what I was saying. I would think that they would have people, if this was an area where somebody could go, if they infiltrated this area, they had the ability to start their own stuff. You would think that the Research Institute would put their elite fighters or something to protect that. But it was like just regular people.
Clearly, the research institution spending their money on other stuff. They're not
They're
thinking
not spending
somebody
on
got the
security.
cojones to come on there and try to do exactly what she did. She basically just walked in.
She
She just
really
walked
did.
in. She's like, I'll take this. And oh, you guys are here? Oh, y'all not even on yet. So let me warm up, get
Right.
ready.
She took out the dude outside. She was like, I said, she was so smug about it. The guy came up to her and was like, hey, can I help you? And she was like, I just have a question. I want to know, do you still get the motion sickness? And she was like, I don't. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like when you return back to your normal body. And she just, like, he goes at her with the rake or whatever. She just takes it apart and whips the shit out of
Worst mistake he ever made in his existence. You cannot get any type of clarity in hindsight from that because it was
No.
over before he even got a chance to get his thought process going on.
No.
Somebody's
But
gonna pick him up off the ground, the trash man or something.
yeah. But so Flynn goes in, gets a little stopwatch. She puts it on the machine. She starts creating a stub.
Hey, it's not a stopwatch.
Well, I'm
It's a
sorry, not a stopwatch.
beautiful,
Pocket
nice.
watch. A pocket watch. A
Yeah,
nice
it's
little
a
golden
nice
pocket watch.
timepiece. Yeah, it looked like a golden snitch from
But it
Harry
was
Potter.
just sitting on the floor. She literally walked
Clearly,
in and picked it up off the floor.
clearly security here ain't shit. So you could just walk in out the street, just if you use somebody eyeball from
Yeah,
outside,
she just takes his
you could
hand,
go in.
bashes it up against the thing.
She did it right the first time, not like how The Rock had to do it.
Oh, Hobbs and Shaw. He had to use like what, 20 different people? to find out
That
who
was
had access.
hilarious. That was funny.
But yeah, so she goes in, she's putting the pocket watch on the table to create a new stuff. She fights off everybody else. Dr. Newland is in one of the bodies, and so she tells her, she says, you know, you're not gonna be able to find me. Or Dr. Newland say, I will still come for you. And so Flynn is like, well, not if you don't know the coordinates. And she basically crushes the watch. The timeline, the stub's created, but if you don't have access to it, you can't come after me. You can't access that stub. So she crushes the pocket watch. And so now we get the second part of her plan. The second part of her plan was for Connor to kill her. So that way, I guess, so she doesn't have variants. Because
Hey, again,
the
I made
plan,
it seem like that we were gonna tell everybody how this made sense. And
Mhm.
the first thing you said after that was, "This is the part that I didn't understand." So there's there's no, there's no way we can make it through this unscathed.
No,
So
but
I'm just gonna go ahead and throw my hands up and say,
because the thing about it is the current timeline that they were in, what was going to happen was that
the
the
jackpot was gonna
the
happen."
jackpot was going to happen. They were going to blow up the missile silo, so that was going to wipe out
Right,
everybody. So she would have died
right,
either way. So
right.
why she had Connor to shoot her?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Because at the same time, Connor and Burton and everyone else in that timeline also died.
Right.
That whole timeline dies. So she really saves only herself. So in this new timeline, could Connor actually have all of his limbs?
It's
Could
possible.
Burton not have enhancements?
Well, it
Could all
depends
of people that died still be alive in this timeline?
because I
It's
think
almost like
from
Rick and Morty season 1, episode 3.
God, I can't remember back that far.
Well, let me tell you what happened. Rick takes Morty to a new universe. He takes him to a totally separate timeline where
Right.
Morty is flipped out because he sees his mom, sister, and father, which again he knows are not his mom, sister, and father. He just left the world where everything went to shit, went to Cronenberg, and
Mm-hmm.
now we have a new world that we just gotta be like, okay, this is the new normal.
Right.
And we don't know what's on the other side of the new normal because the season ends and we know Flynn's alive
Mm-hmm.
working with the inspector to take down the Institute in a new timeline.
Right.
Who's who? Who's not who? What is what? This show has been consistently about two things: giving you that action and giving you those questions like, what is going on? And it's
Right.
been pretty consistent the whole season.
So the only thing that I
In
can
my
think of is if the way that in Endgame, when they explain taking an Infinity Stone out of a timeline, it creates a branch timeline. It creates a branch timeline from that point. So
right.
if she created a stub from the point in time where they currently were, where you know they had the headsets, everything that had happened had happened, but she just created it from there and branched off from there. So Connor would still have gotten blown up. Burton has still killed Bob. You know, everything that happened in the previous episodes still have happened, but now we're in a branch stub where the silo doesn't blow up. But I would think that they would have to go back. See, and that's the part that I don't understand because if they started it from that point, because she crushed the pocket watch, does that mean that Dr. Newland can't reach back into the past and blow up the missile silo? So is that why, you know, in that branch timeline everybody will survive, whereas in the main timeline, that's when everybody dies? I don't know. These are questions that I don't have answers to. But after Connor reluctantly shoots Flynn from like 300
Are,
kilometers away or however far he was.
are we gonna say that he shot her? Do we have to say that?
I mean,
Because
we
it did
didn't.
happen off screen.
Yeah, we didn't see Flynn go down.
But
We
it
saw Connor
but,
aiming the weapon. We saw it. We heard the gunshot, but we
but
didn't
she
see
woke
anything.
But she woke up in the new
She
Peripheral.
woke up in the future. I think it was, well, I mean, it's a new timeline. She woke up in the Peripheral. She was sitting with Inspector Lowbeer, and it was basically like, let's get to work. So I don't know. I don't know.
And it's one of these shows that left you with an ambiguous I don't know. Because listen, if you're gonna sit here and tell me you watch Amazon the Peripheral and you got it all figured out, let's have that conversation because we have questions
Right.
that need some clarifications. Because is she in the future fully now? Is she in the past on a different timeline with the ability to the future? Can we trust the professor? I mean, the professor. Can we
The
trust the
Inspector.
inspector?
I'm
How
still on the
long
fence
is it
about
going
that
to
one.
take the doctor to find exactly where she is? Flynn, where's Burton? Is Connor still in the future? Is he going to marry this android lady? She has feelings for him and she doesn't even know why. Is the inspector going to be okay with this relationship?
Right, this guy married her daughter.
So many questions.
Cause she
Is
seemed like she
Bob
was a little
in
bit
the
into him too.
who?
The daughter, because Lowbeer asked her, she said, you know, if you had to pick one of them in
Yes.
a fight, who would you pick? And she's like, well, Burton's
Yes.
more classically trained, you know, he's
Yes.
methodical, but Connor is, you know, in a pinch, I would go after Connor because, you know, he's like a little bit more unpredictable, but a little bit more better in a fight. So she said she would go for Connor. So she was kind of feeling him too.
Uh-huh. You know what? Let's go ahead and be honest. They're doing everything that's necessary to set up season two. Has season two been confirmed?
I don't believe season 2 has been confirmed.
What are we doing, Amazon? What are we doing? What are we doing? And you don't leave us with all these questions with no answers. But here's a question I have for you, Spider. Amazon Prime the Peripheral. Is it super? Or is it just something that we watch and because,
Because it's something on.
because because the MCU hasn't dropped something right now.
um,
No, the question is really
yeah.
is it something that you would watch again if you had not watched it the first time?
Had I not watched this the first time, would it be something that I watch again? Yes, it would be. I have enjoyed this show. Has it given me questions? Yes. Has it confused me at some points? Yes. But at the end of the day, I think that it was still a thoroughly entertaining show. The action didn't miss. The action is probably one of the highlights of the season. Those action scenes, the gunfights, they were, you know, they were shot well. They kept you in anticipation because, especially with the bridge gunfight, you didn't know what was going to happen with Bob, and you think that he was dead, but Billy Ann coming back with that shotgun. It's like, just, you know, it's stuff
I think
like
that was
that.
rock salt in that shotgun.
I don't know what it was.
Could have been
That's,
rock
who
salt.
knows? Could have
Could have
been
been
rock
rock.
salt.
Could have been buckshot.
But to answer the question, of the show super? Yes, I think that the show is super. I think that
Really? Oh, okay.
this last episode, and I think that a good show leaves you with questions if they're going to have a second season because you want
Questions,
to
not plot
know.
holes.
Not plot holes. No, we've talked about some of the plot holes in the last few episodes in the second half of the season. It's something that don't make sense, but I feel like that's almost par for the course with a lot of different shows. But in the sense of the story and where the story is going and what they want to do with the story in both the present day and in the future in London, I feel like there are still questions because questions in the sense of I want to know what's going to happen next because we left a lot to not to be desired, but we left a lot unanswered in this final episode. We don't know what's going to happen with these group of people that Alita has amassed. You know, we don't know what's going
Has
to
all of
happen
them
with.
taken their implants out?
That's a question we don't know, but I would imagine so if they're following Alita and they're
Oh yeah,
saying
she's
that
making an army.
right, she's gathering an army to rise up. But if I would imagine that they would have taken out, because why else would anybody believe what she's saying if they also didn't have the memories of it? It was like, oh, this is just a crazy person talking nonsense. But if they,
This is
you know,
true.
they took their chips out too, and they have the memories, like, oh, well, obviously this has been, the
We've
the
been
successes,
bamboozled.
right, the successes of the clip and all its order and stuff has been greatly exaggerated, and there's all of this other stuff going on behind the scenes. And so we have these different factions now. So we have the clip, because obviously Zubov is going to want to get revenge. We have the Met, where Flynn is working with Lobeer, and they're trying to take down the Research Institute and the clip, and trying to basically bring some order back to all of this chaos and all of this experimentation that's going on in these stubs. You got the Research Institute. Dr. Newland basically wants to tear everybody down and get back what was stolen, which we find out is basically all of the technology that the Research Institute have. Literally every single file,
Hard drives.
just all of it,
Which is killing Flynn.
which is killing Flynn. And so, and then now we have Alita's faction, and whether or not Wilf is going to join them or if he's going to go back to Zubov. And so we have all of these different areas in the future London where they're gonna come to a head at some point, and it's gonna be like this big knockdown, drag out fight. And so we want to see that. We want to see what that leads to and how they get to it. So yes, to answer the question, I think that the first season of the Peripheral was super. Hopefully they get a second season, and if they do, I will be eager to watch it. But Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, you have reserved judgment this entire season. So here we are, season is over.
Yes,
so we
is.
asked the question, do you, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, think that when it comes to Amazon Prime Video's The Peripheral, is it super?
I'll tell you in season 2. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Just joking. Gotcha. Listen. Oh, they would hate me. You guys would
like,
hate
we
me.
waited all this goddamn time. He's not going to tell us.
Listen, there's no secret that we don't hold back on this show. Listen, we'll tell you to watch something, and it's up to you whether you watch it or not. But this is one that you not only want to watch, but you want to rewatch. You want to watch it quietly. This is the one that you don't really want to talk to. You want to tell a person sitting next to you, hey, could you get out? Just get out. Not shut up. Just leave the whole room. Just get out and come back in like an hour or two after I done caught up and watch this, because it's going to take full concentration. Because when they start talking in code, right there in the larynx, because you just don't want to miss a thing.
They use some big words too. I had to rewind it a couple of times. Like, wait, what did she say?
Exactly. And then there's some slang in there too. It's some European kind of slang in there, and it's just like, oh, okay, you're trying to get cute with it. You just want to be fancy. Make me want to just pluck you right in your tongue. Anyway,
from the throat
is it super though? The question is, it's super.
The question is it super?
For me, I am a sci-fi guy. I love sci-fi. For me, I'm an action guy. I love action. For me, I'm a story guy. I love story. And for those who like love, it's in there too, or the hint of love is in there too, or relationships. We haven't even talked much about Flynn and Wolf, or Flynn and Tommy, and alluded to Flynn and Connor, and then Flynn and Flynn, because goddamn it, you gotta love yourself. You gotta be enough for yourself, okay? So we get that in the show. Is it super? I'm trying to figure it out, guys. I want you to know what the honest answer that I'm gonna give you is yes. Yes, it's super. Yes, it's something to watch. It's something to watch with respect, though. It's not just any type of story. There are some things that don't make sense. How you hold a glizzy, but we can excuse that because overall there's a lot going on, and there's questions. These are question marks that need to be answered in the story, and that's what you want in your story. You're taking your audience on a journey from here to there. And you want them to enjoy the journey from here to there, not be like, what am I watching? This is giving you just enough of everything to keep it going. It's kind of like a heartbeat, but pulsating junctions and things of that nature, because we see characters that actually have stuff to do, characters that's actually learning, characters that's actually growing, twists, unexpected twists, because who was to say that what's her name? The friend, French Flynn.
Lynn's friend,
Yeah,
Billy Ann.
yeah. Say that 9 times fast. We thought that she would have already told Jasper everything that was going on with the Fishers.
Mm-hmm.
She has
But
not.
she said she wouldn't.
10 toes down, baby. She's been 10 toes down the whole episode, the whole season. So you got to give her that. Plus, she got her own glizzy with the. Everybody know that sound. It's better than a doorbell. When you hear it, clear out. We not home. Yes, y'all are. I'm out of here. And there's enough going on to keep you questioning what's going on. Even with the tech, you see the sonic gun, and they already explained what the sonic gun was in it. So when you see it, you're like, I know what it does. It went from killing people to not killing people. But they showed you close range, close enough. It
Right.
will kill.
Yeah.
But,
The thing
at
about
a
it is
distance,
they
it
only
may
use
just
it.
knock you back.
They've only used it close range on peripherals. They never use
This
it
is
close range
also
on an
true.
actual person.
This is
Because even when Flynn was fighting David, she shot at him, but he was from a distance, and he didn't die. He didn't die until Dr. Newland inside the android slit his throat.
yeah, that ain't right. Even this,
And
and
then she
this,
remade him.
listen, I don't know if this is Verizon, AT&T, or who this is.
The tap
Maybe it's
tap
Mint
slide.
Mobile. I don't know. Yeah, just cha-cha slide, cha-cha slide type of situation. But listen, I don't know the range on this, but we seen what's his name, the villain of I can't call him a villain. He hasn't been identified as a villain yet. But when he cut across your boy's face, that was some villainous shit right there. He
With
was
Zubal.
spying on his wife dancing with Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So he can see. Is his wife a peripheral?
No, I think he was just like,
he lost.
was he watching through her eyes, or was he just like watching through a
He
camera in
was
the kitchen?
watching through her. You got to go back and watch this. You guys let us know in the comments which one it was, but I'm pretty certain he was watching through
I don't
her
think we got to see.
or all the way.
I
He
think
was
he
looking
was.
at them.
I know he
And
was looking
when
at
the
them, but I think he was
doctors,
looking at them from like a third party perspective. I don't
but
think he
when the
was watching
doctor
through
showed
her
up,
eyes.
he
Yeah,
cut
he
his
cut it
pay per
off.
view off.
Yeah, pay per view.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Is it though?
Everything in that the streets is made with like glass. Everything in there is expensive. I can't see it not being expensive. Who's charging these robots when off hours? That's walking around harassing people for kissing and things.
Just
The
you
electric
walking
bill
around,
is high.
you looking suspicious. You fit a profile.
Yeah, you're looking around too much. That's profiling, sir, ma'am, robot. Don't profile me. Don't do that. I'm in London trying to enjoy the scenery.
I'm taking it to the sites. I'm visiting.
Why is half of London real and the other half not real? So many questions.
That's also it's something that we didn't even touch on. But yeah, that is a good question.
I understand the statues are there to scrub the air to keep the air clean, but some of those aren't even finished. Some of them aren't even real.
And because
so who's putting up
also,
the illusion?
Who are they putting up the illusion for? Because we saw that all of those people that we see in the streets aren't real. We don't see anybody. So who's the illusion for?
Are you are you a simulation? Are we a simulation? What is going on?
Tap
slide. Now I feel like I'm in love with you. And that was so cool that they expressed emotion through this, infiltrated each other's minds just to see how they feel about each other. And Wolf let it be known that it wasn't really a secret that he was catching feelings. He didn't want her in the box. He kind of looks after her when she's not there to make sure her peripheral is in good condition. Listen, there's so many questions to explore in season 2. How could you not be interested? If you're watching us at this point in time and you haven't watched the show, thank you. But if you're going to give the Peripheral a look, I suggest that you do. If you feel like it's not for you, you haven't watched it long enough. Go 3 episodes in deep before you make a decision on whether it's super or not to you. To us, I think it is. It's probably one of the best things that's on Amazon right now since the boys are on break. And
Invincible is yet
can,
to return.
we need more Invincible. But until that time comes, I think they got one. I think they got a real winner on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it not to be dumbed down more. Don't take anything from it because again, I enjoy Westworld and everything that was in the Westworld because this is from one of the producers of.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got a great story. I think we got playing with timelines and playing with time, playing with tech, playing with the future, playing with some of the old hardware, some new hardware, and some interesting storylines that can go anywhere. And it's all entertaining. So if you haven't stopped, set your timer to watch The Peripheral on Amazon Prime Video, then you're doing yourself a disservice. I think it is super. I think it's one of the best things that's on TV right now. I'm excited to see new episodes. And if they haven't okayed the season 2 yet, I'm gonna ask what they're really doing with their time because I don't want to see an Amazon Prime Video Jellystone. I don't want to see it. You know,
I
it's the
don't know
biggest
that.
thing on Jellystone. You never seen Jellystone
No.
with uh Yevon Yashner.
Oh no. I've
Yeah, there
heard
you
of it,
go.
but no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there you go. So it's a lot going on. Jellystone.
But anyway, those are our answers. Let us know what you thought about the Peripheral. Leave us a comment. Let us know if you watched it, if you enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought about the episode, about
So
the
I'm
season
sitting
as a
there saying,
whole.
what the hell is Jellystone?
I just take it and I
Never
run with
mind.
it. But
What is
remember,
Jellystone?
if you like the
What's he
video,
talking
go
about?
ahead, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so you can be notified, hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes that go out. If you want the audio version of the podcast, just search for All Things Super on your favorite podcast streaming platform. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
Man, I don't know. There's a lot of questions and a
Yeah,
lot of explaining that needs to be done in season 2.
yeah,
And there's clearly a revolution coming because, they want to be free of this memory dampening inhibitor that's in their minds.
right.
Where do we go from here?
I don't know.
Season 2,
We'll see.
Peripheral. Can't
If
wait.
there is a season 2 in the works, hopefully we'll get some type of
Whoa!
announcement. We shall see. But until then, thank you so much for joining us this week, and we will see you all in the next episode.